Welcome to Coach Hayes Football Live. He can talk about anything from high school to the pros. This guy knows the game, so you better not be half-stepping.
I can guarantee you most of the audience is going to agree with me before they agree with you.
Strap in, because Coach Hayes is about to
crack your cranium and fertilize your brain. Go ahead and right here, right now.
Subscribe now and check out CoachHayesFootball.com.
What's up, everybody? Hey, welcome back to another episode of Coach Hayes Football Live. We got an exciting one for you today, man. I mean, this is going to be a great one. We're talking about these Florida Gators, the past, present, and the future of the program. We're going to give you guys a few minutes to jump in. I see people are coming in. Comment section is already jumping from the YouTube side, okay? If you are watching this on Facebook, do me a favor. Share this out. Do a watch party for your boy. Let's make this thing big, as well as if you're on YouTube. Make sure you go ahead and share out this link to everybody else as well. Also, let me get a thumbs up in the comment section just to make sure everything is good from the audio as well as the visual. So if there are any adjustments need to be made, we can go ahead and do so before we get started. I do want to jump into some of these comments real quick as we are waiting. We got Eddie Sewell says, we will be the champion. I'm loving it. Man, look, they going hard. Let me see. Hard wide to self-destruction. Hey, with a Gator symbol. All right. Darnell Kirkland say, what's good, Coach? What's good? And my man, hey, Eddie, all over this thing. Go Gators. We ready, Coach Hayes? And here go the biggest one. Eddie hit your boy with the $5 piece. You understand what I'm saying? Do you like Brandon Cox? Well, guess what, Eddie? I got to ask you a question. I don't know if you're talking about the Brandon Cox from Auburn. I'm not sure. You got to kind of clarify that a little bit. But maybe I'll give you a chance to jump on because we are we got a new feature here, if you understand what I'm saying. We got a new feature that last week we got kind of challenged here at Coach Hayes Football, and one of the viewers named Quentin Lee, all right, he said, Coach, I want to call in and give my side of the story. I didn't have that feature. Well, guess what? 7 days later, we made it happen, and we got that feature. So we're going to definitely make this thing happen tonight. So if you are watching and you do have a comment or a question or just want to give a shout out to somebody, feel free. We will put that number out here in a minute once we get started. But let me see here. We got quite a few people jumping on in. All right, we're looking good, definitely on Facebook and YouTube. So without further ado, I'm going to bring in my guys. I always call them the usual suspect because they usually are the suspects of anything that happens and goes wrong. I'm going to bring in my boy first, actor extraordinaire, Mr. Essex O'Brien. E, what's up, baby?
What's going on, dog? How you doing?
Feeling good, man. Go and give them a quick intro of yourself, man, who you are and everything, and we get this thing rolling.
Oh, man, you know, it's me, your boy, Essex O'Brien. From the crib, with the fam, actor extraordinaire. I like how you say that. Y'all can catch me on Amazon. Just Google my name. You pull up my titles in there. Commercials, you know, Nutrisystem, Publix, The Oath on Sony Crackle. So just doing my thing, man. Happy to be on the Coach Hayes Football Show.
I heard that, man. And also, we're going to bring my boy in. Also, he is my dog. He do all of the intros and all of the graphic stuff here for Coach Hayes Football, man. And we're going to bring him in right quick, man. That's V12. V12, talk to us.
We are all the way live, Coach. All the way live. That's every day we live. And I'm glad to be here with you. Like you said, we do all the promos, intros, outros, small commercials, not too large, you know. And I'm glad to be here. Looking forward to the show, Coach. I'm making it sure. Hey, I don't have no extraordinaire in front of my name. I don't do all that acting, all that stuff. I just get to the point. Hey, they want to know about V12. We bringing Hemis strong all day. All day we bringing Hemis.
Yeah, right? Hey, look at that, dog. You the only one up here with a nickname, though. You V12.
There we go. That's how we do.
Hey, my dog Eddie say, what's up,
what's
V12?
Up? What's up? Hey, Eddie, I'm here, baby. I'm about to talk about how they put that chop. They told that chop they got to go. We talk about that later too, Eddie. No more Gator sign, Eddie. So we'll see. We'll get at you.
All right, man. So here we are. This is what we got going on. Boy, DT, can I get E's autograph? Well, guess what, man? You had to reach out to him, man. I don't know how that go. You had to call his agent, man, book him. You know what I mean? My dog do parties and everything else. You know, so it is what it is, man. We having fun with it. Right here. We got Fragrance Journey 01. Go Gators. All right. One time for the fragrance. Go on and send your boy a fragrance right quick if that's what I saw on the avatar there.
Where you found all these Gator fans at, man? Where you found these people at?
Hey, man, these Gator fans everywhere. Look, man, I'm up here in Orlando. Let me tell you something. You can't go nowhere without an alligator chomping at your ankles, if you know what I'm saying.
They're everywhere.
Especially around here, man. But let's go ahead and jump on into this thing. Let's get this thing going and get it fired up because we do got quite a bit to talk about. We are talking about the University of Florida. We're going to talk about, like I said, the past, present, and the future. And when I say the past, I'm not going all the way back to the beginning of time, guys. I'm kind of going back to modern history. And we'll kind of jump this thing off maybe from the Steve Spurrier era. Okay, so back in 1990, and I know Florida's always had some great teams prior to that, but we're going to kind of go from maybe 1990 until now. All right. Well, if you guys get this video to 10,000 views and this channel to 10,000 subscribers, we definitely would go back to the beginning of time, even how they picked the colors, if you know what I'm saying. But with all that being said, man, hey, what you got in your hand now, boy?
Oh, that's some Gatorade. Hey, that's some Gatorade.
There you go. Some Gatorade.
Hey, some Gatorade.
We gonna go back that far? No, we're not.
Hold on.
I need to be after some Gatorade.
But you see how I call him the usual suspect? Most people would have slipped on that. He jumped right on it, right on time, man. So,
hey, I'm from MIA, baby. Hey, MIA, baby. Hey, what they say? We don't play games. Quick on our feet.
But let's go with it, man. So here we go. We're gonna talk about the Florida Gators. We wanted to, like I said, we're talking about past, present, and future. And like I said, if you guys are on YouTube and Facebook, you're more than welcome. Go ahead and share this thing out, watch parties, and all of that. So here it is, right? So the Florida Gators, as we know from the Steve Spurrier era, he came in, kind of made a household name. I guess it was prior to that as well. But I'm talking about kind of from our era, from most people watching this today. They were always a team that would beat you or could beat you, definitely. And what Steve Spurrier spent, 11 years, 12 years there from 1990 to 2001. All right. And so let's kind of talk about that. A lot of people don't. There go my dog. Hold on. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. Quentin Lee, he in the building. Guess what? You want to say something? I got a phone number for you today. Quentin Lee, I got the phone number for you. You challenged Coach Hayes, and Coach Hayes stepped up to the challenge. So now I need you to step up to the challenge. And when I put this number out, you better be the first one calling, my man. You understand what I'm saying? All right. So anyway, back to what I was saying about Steve Spurrier. He kind of made the game, made the team a household name in essence. And, they were always a team that could beat you. We from Miami originally, so we always hated the Gators. But, it is what it was, And I'm going to say something, so I hope I don't lose some viewers here. But, them Canes was putting that thing out in the 90s, boy, the late 80s and 90s. Yeah. And
Sasha Thumper.
Yeah, I think the head coach was giving the players alligator skin cleats, if I wasn't mistaken. But that's just me. I'm just talking a little trash, but I ain't gonna talk a lot. So with all that being said, we getting into it. And so let's talk about Steve Spurrier coming in. So he comes into the Gators. He went to Florida, played quarterback there, won the Heisman in 1966. Played in the a lot of people don't know that Steve Spurrier won the Heisman Trophy.
The baller, huh? The baller?
Yeah. Played in the league, I want to say 10 years. He played a little bit, more of a journeyman, but it was what it was, and it is what it is. So he comes and becomes the coach, and he turns it around. He starts the recruiting process, and in 96 he wins the Natty, right? So he wins a national championship. In 1996. So, guys, what do you guys have to say in regard, maybe in that era, if anything, a little bit, so far as in that 90s, especially when that's coming up in the state of Florida? And anybody else in the comment section, please go ahead and make sure you leave that. And I'm going to drop this number here in a second so you can call in and give us your opinions or two of that era.
Okay, so, Coach, my introduction, I'm going to get to Steve Spurrier era in a second. I didn't know how far back we wanted to go, but I remember being a 10-year-old kid, that's what, 1987, 1988. Yeah. And my introduction to Florida Gators was watching Emmitt Smith. And, being football fans in Miami, Emmitt Smith being from Florida was a beast at Florida. And I remember he used to always throw up the Sigma sign. I know a lot of you guys probably know he's a Sigma. And he would score those touchdowns and throw up the Sigma sign. So my introduction to Florida was through Emmitt Smith back in the day. I was 10 years old. But ever since then, Florida been on the map for me.
Yeah. Okay.
I just remember especially when Miami and Florida State was in the midst of their hottest rivalry years, you know, a lot of times we would look at Florida to be a spoiler, you know what I'm saying? Like, because we always tended to play them earlier in the season. And then, you know, they had to face the Gators towards the end of the season. So that game a lot of times would have national championship implications as far as the rankings and determining who would be 1 and 2. So sometimes you wind up rooting for the Gators, you know what I'm saying? If it could make a difference between helping Miami out over Florida State. Because I think for me, you know, I don't know if y'all would agree, but that was more of our direct rival because we played them every year. We didn't play Florida every single year. So we didn't, you know, of course we wanted to establish dominance over them, but sometimes, you know, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and we used to root for the Gators sometimes. So and then, you know, me spending years in Tallahassee, that was always a big event. The city would, you know, kind of be at a standstill when Florida and Florida State would play. So you always kind of had, you know, that in-state fun and talking trash with both sides of it. So that's kind of how I've always felt about Florida.
And you're right, man. Like I said, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Yeah. And there are times we did have to root for them boys because, you know, we had to put Florida State on it. Like, you know, we don't like Florida, but we hate Florida State.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So it is one of those type of things, man. And I did want to say this too. A lot of people didn't know this, that Steve Spurrier was born in Miami.
Okay.
Yeah, but he grew up in Tennessee, man. He moved away, so he ain't really stay too long.
He must have grew up in Kendall or something. He one of the good parts of town. He didn't grow up in Liberty City.
Well, like Martin said, that boy was out there on Miami Beach strolling in the Speedos.
All right, there you go.
All right. So real quick, man, I'm gonna pop some of these questions in here. This is true as well. Eddie Sewell says, and Steve Spurrier kicked the field goal in the game too, and he also punted in the NFL as well. D. Tiggs taking shots early in the game. He says, what have they done in the past 10 years? But we definitely gonna get to that here in a second. And K.A. said, I swear the Florida Gators had the most expensive tickets in the NCAA. Hey, they might do, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't paid for a college football game in a long time. So, hey, it's what they call will call. So you better get on that will call list with them players, man. Make it happen. So with all that being said, we talked about Steve Spurrier, and I do want to hear from people, like I said, in the comment section. I'm gonna open this thing up. We're gonna see what it had. We're gonna see how it's gonna work. We just getting it open now, so give us a couple. We might have some bugs. It's all right. You know, this ain't ESPN. This BSPN, the Brothers Sports News and Entertainment, if you understand what I'm saying. So we got to make it happen sometime. But only thing I do ask is just simply, man, let's keep it PG. We just try to keep it PG because I know YouTube be trying to bam your boy across the head, as well as we do have some young listeners as well. So we're going to drop this thing down below. And go ahead and you're more than welcome to call in. We got that thing. We got a ticker, baby. You understand what I'm saying?
Across the bottom.
Hey, this is what we do, man. Hey, you got to always evolve. You got to always grow. That's part of everything, and that's what this is all about. Just building this thing from when we first started. But let's get back to Florida, man. So now Steve Spurrier wins the Natty. Go ahead.
Right. So remember, I know we're talking about Steve, and people may know that Steve Spurrier spent a lot of time in Florida before as an assistant coach before he became the head coach at the Florida Gators. He was there for a little while, and when Steve became the head coach, that's when people started to pay attention more to the Florida Gators because when I would watch them, they were very exciting. They didn't have a lot of defense, but their offense was phenomenal. They called him, he was the fun and gun coach, the old ball coach, fun and gun. And
he was known for, he revolutionized the offenses and a lot of passing. He was one of the first guys that did a lot of, spread them out, pass the ball around when people were still in eye back and all of that. So,
yeah.
Right. So when he came, again, it took him a little time, but he found his footing. And like you expressed, in 1996, they end up winning the national championship. But it had been building up for a long time because they had pretty good teams and pretty good seasons going into that 1996 season. And, their roster was stacked in 1996. so many NFL players came from that Florida 1996 national championship team. You can't even imagine how many NFL players college players went on to play in the NFL from that 1996 team.
Yeah.
Right. And I do want to say this too. And I want to say this too in regards. Somebody left up here that I just saw. Hold on. Here we go. Your boy Quentin Lee said he was the head coach at Duke too. All right, and he was. He can't. Like I said, you start off somewhere. You just didn't start off being, the coach immediately. But I do want to say this, man. And as I was looking at this, we all know that in South Florida is the hotbed of recruiting, hotbed of talent. Especially you're starting to see that now. These guys are getting all over the place. From, these South Florida kids are going everywhere, all the way from even from University of Miami all the way up north to Ohio State, all the way out west to even Oregon to play. And as I looked at a lot of things, and I also remembered this, there were some players on the Florida, some South Florida players on the Florida roster, but it's not as many as people think there were. And that was surprising to me, as I looked into it. And I happened to get into coaching when Steve Spurrier was his last year. I started in 2020 in 2000. And he left Florida in 2001. And they really didn't recruit hard in South Florida in those later years. Even then, as I went back, I had to go back and do a little bit of research and look. Only one I remember out of Carroll City was two out of Carroll City, but one was Tico Brown. We all knew him quite well. It was a couple of guys. I want to say it was a guy from Kendall and Killian area, but it wasn't a lot of guys from South Florida. And that was shocking to me, not to see a roster full of those guys, knowing that area was the hotbed. You understand what I'm saying? But he did recruit a lot out of Georgia, out of South Georgia. And again, I understand it is close proximity, but you would have thought he would have got a lot more guys from the South Florida area, but he didn't. So now let's jump on into so after Ron. After
so Coach,
Steve,
you mentioned there were a few other players that was recruited from the Carroll City area per se. I know you mentioned Tico Brown. That's Carroll City's own Tico Brown, the Bajas stand up. Matter of fact, Tico Brown's stepbrother lived on my block in Miami, 195, 195th Terrace. Y'all stand up, Carroll City, all day. So I know Tico Brown, and I remember when he came up through the Carroll City Chiefs ranks, he was always a ball player. But another guy who you probably overlooked was Lawrence Wright from the crib.
Yeah.
And so
he was at Carroll City.
Right. So Lawrence Wright was another guy. There was another young man,
Marquand Manuel, Eminem.
And he was maybe a little bit, I'm not sure if Spurrier recruited him, but his name is Defoncio Spear. They call him D Spear. I think he went to Carroll City as well, and he played at the Gators. So there were a few Carroll City players that went on to start with the Gators. But again, Tico Brown and Lawrence Wright comes to mind, and Defoncio Spear, they call him D Spear as well, went on to play for Cleveland Browns from the area, Carroll City.
And the reason, now I'm gonna tell you why they had that Carroll City tie. There was a coach that was at Carroll City. His name was Red Anderson, right? So his name was Red Anderson, and he by Red Anderson being there as a coach in he was a coach in Carroll City, ended up getting on the coaching staff at Florida. So that was where that tie came. You understand what I'm saying? But then as that happened, what I was saying was not that they didn't have a lot of guys they didn't have guys from South Florida. They didn't have a lot of guys, as you would think. Yeah. That's what I was saying. Not that they didn't have any or one or two, but you would think out of 85 guys, you would think it would be a large number of
at least a third.
Yeah, that's what it just one of those things you think will happen. So, like I said, not to get away from it, but so as we go to Steve Spurrier, we get into the 96, he wins the Natty, he comes in 2001 year, he takes his time, he takes his talent up your way V12 to the Skins, huh? I'm sorry, they're not the Skins. I'm sorry, the Washington football team.
There we go. Hey,
I apologize.
Like you call Spurrier the old ball coach, we will call the old football team from Washington.
Old football team.
The old Washington football team.
He was a hot prospect at that time, wasn't he? Trying to get them pro jobs.
He was definitely a hot commodity, and when he came up here, if I'm not sure if you guys remember, and we can go back just a little bit, Coach, if you don't mind. I spoke about the 1996 championship team. We mentioned a couple guys, Tico Brown, Lawrence Wright. But let me read off a couple of guys who were also on that team. Heisman Trophy winner, Danny Wuerffel, who ended up being his quarterback in the Washington football team.
Yeah.
Then you had the freak, Javon Kearse. What a freak. 6'6", all. What a player, right? You also had Ike Hilliard, Rodell Anthony, Jaquez Green. We can't forget about Freddie Taylor, Freddie T. So they had a beast of a team. Like I mentioned earlier, all these guys pretty much played in the pros. So when the old ball coach decided to go to the old Washington football team, Wuerffel was there, and he thought he would be able to transition from both of them from the collegiate ranks to the NFL ranks. Right. Didn't quite work out for both of them. Right. Yeah. So fun fact, I ain't have a fun fact in a long time. He told me the fun fact. Did you know that Steve Spurrier at the time was the only person to coach another Heisman Trophy winner in Danny Wuerffel?
No, you mean him being a Heisman Trophy winner and coaching one.
Right. Him being a Heisman Trophy winner and coaching one in 1996. He was the first in a long time. Now, it probably happened. I mean, I'm not sure if it's happened since then, but as of 1996, he was the first to have that happen. So that's a fun fact for you guys.
Hey, that's cool right there, man. Listen, we got guys calling in, and when you're calling in, you got to just hold on a quick second because we are mid-conversation. You understand? My engineering team back there, we got to fire them, but just hold tight. You understand? We will definitely put you on, but we did have quite a few calls come through, and I appreciate you guys doing that. But just give us a quick second where we can get a break, and then we'll definitely get you on.
We could probably get them on sooner than later because
we get them on now when they call.
But listen to my point, because after Spurrier, we could take a yawn for a couple years on the Gators.
I don't know about that now, but hold on. We got a call coming in right now.
Okay.
We got a call coming in right now. Hello. You on Coach A's Football Live. Oh, now they want to be shy. They can't talk. It's from the 202 area code. I can tell you that.
It's real radio issues. You know what I'm saying? People be calling, they be on hold, and they go to the bathroom and stuff.
Yeah.
Your first call, they done already went to.
Here we go. Talk to us. Hello?
Hey, Coach, can you hear me?
Can you hear me? Hello?
I hear.
Hold on, I'm finna pull you in right now. I'm trying to hear you. We gonna get you right now. Talk to us.
Okay, I'm here right now. This is D. Tiggs, so I'm from Maryland, Washington Redskins fan.
What's up?
Hey, listen, Steve Spurrier was a bum. Steve Spurrier was a
Why you say he was a bum, man?
Straight bum.
He did struggle in the NFL. He did.
Hold on.
Your Florida resident should not be representing Steve Spurrier at all. He was a bum.
In the NFL,
yes. But tell us why was he a bum? You just saying he's a bum. Tell us why.
Listen, he can't coach. He can't coach at all.
That's the best you got? Man, you got to holler that. You got to give us some facts, man. We can't sit up here. You coming out with these one-word answers, man. This Coach Hayes, I'm going to keep it all the way live with you. This ain't third grade, man. We keep it all the way real. You got to come up here with some facts, man.
Look, V12 said it all. V12 said it all. He came to the NFL with some college stuff and just scrubbed it up.
Oh, you talking about when he was in the NFL?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Okay, but we on the Florida Gators right now. We were just giving some history. I feel you. You want to call him a bum? Bum it up. But we talking about these Gators right here, man. Hey, I appreciate you calling, man. Thank you so much, man. Matter of fact, what's your name and where you from?
Hey, D. Tiggs, Maryland, baby. D. Tiggs, Maryland.
Oh, this man. Okay, I hear you, baby.
Boy,
hey,
man.
D in the building.
I appreciate you calling, man.
D in the building.
He had the same Saban did.
Hey, yeah. Hey, listen. I mean, and D's right.
It's a difference between coaching men and boys.
But in defense to D. Tiggs, he's right. You can't talk about Spurrier. I know we're talking about the Gators without talking about somewhat his NFL track record, which was really, really bad. So we get it.
No, we're right, but I was talking about from a Florida standpoint.
Yeah,
because the show's about Florida. I'm just talking
right.
about but I mean, yeah, he did. He stunk it up. Now that preseason, he lit it up. Right? Remember, he was beating people in the preseason 42 to like 7.
Nobody wants playing though.
Yeah, you're right. Playing? But it is what it is. But let's push this thing forward, man. So now, after Steve Spurrier leaves, they bring in who?
Ron Zook.
So here's my thing. So Ron Zook, they bring him in, and I definitely want to hear a Florida fan talk about Ron Zook, because now this is at the time in which I began my coaching career, 2000. Ron Zook's just coming in 02, and so we definitely getting a lot of traction from Florida. They coming in the building now and all the other stuff, man. So with all that being said, so Ron Zook comes in. Steve Spurrier, like I said, always kept it 10-2, 9-3, always right around there, always in a big bowl game. Ron Zook comes in and he hits middle of the road, right? So
correct.
So now he's middle of the road, dude. He's an 8-5 guy, 7-6 guy, and I think he spent 3 years there. I want to know, what do you guys think happened for it just to fall off the cliff like that?
Well, I think that when Spurrier, what possibly happened, maybe Steve's recruiting class, the last one before Zook came, probably wasn't as good as previous classes, because Ron Zook came in and he wasn't a bad coach. He was just a mediocre coach. He actually does have a winning record at the 3 years that he was at the Florida Gators, but it wasn't in Florida Gators fashion. He wasn't lighting up the scoreboard. It wasn't fun and gun. He wasn't outscoring opponents 612 to 228 like Steve Spurrier did in 1996. So the Florida Gators fan got a little bit jaded. It's kind of similar to the UM fans in the 80s, when we were Gino Torretta, Horace Copeland, Lamar Thomas. We just throwing the ball and catching it, and we scoring points like crazy. So to be honest with you, maybe the recruiting kind of fell off, and Spurrier probably saw the writing on the wall and maybe left and went to the NFL. And like they say, he probably left the cupboard almost bare and empty for Ron Zook.
Yeah, and also Ron Zook is a defensive-minded guy, right? So his whole mindset, his philosophy is, play good defense, ball control offense. I ain't gonna lie, I'm a defensive guy. I'm like that too. And that's why you don't see a lot of defensive guys getting these NFL head jobs, because it's not sexy. It's not exciting. It's not like arena football where the score is 56-50. Like, people think, offensive-minded guys and fans love to see a 56-52 score. A defensive mind guy don't mind winning the game 3-0. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? It may not be, like that last Super Bowl. I think it was the last Super Bowl. Oh, that was the worst Super Bowl ever. That was the best Super Bowl to me I've seen in a long time. It was a good defense being played, just wasn't running up and down the field. But I do need to say this, man. Our boy, actor man, Essex has to take off, man. He's headed out. The studios have sent the limousine to his house. As you know, most acting things, believe it or not, take place in the middle of the night, for those early morning scenes, late night, because no traffic and all is quiet. So I know that Denzel has sent the limousine, and Tyler Perry has sent the limousine to the house, man. So I know you got to go. But I appreciate you coming over for a few moments.
Hey, Coach, now I can assume the lead actor now. I'm always a supporting actor. Now that actor man, get out of here. I can be the lead actor.
Hey, I was gonna say, the fans get spoiled, right? After you come with all that sizzle with Spurrier and you come with that steak with Ron Zook, they ain't always gonna be interested. So I hope y'all can keep the viewers going in my absence, and you know what I'm saying?
Look at this cat here. Hey, man, I feel you, baby. I appreciate you, though. I appreciate you, man. Go ahead. Go ahead and make it happen. Hey, I told you, hey, I'm going to be your manager. I'm going to be the dude making bad decisions and spending money in all the wrong places. That's what it's all about.
You're supposed to keep me from doing wrong.
No, I will.
All right, man. We're going to holler at you. I appreciate you, though, man.
All right, E.
All right, so let's get into this thing. So like I said, Ron Zook is there. And then here's the deal. After Ron Zook leave, he goes to Illinois, right? He spent 7 years in Illinois, and the dude stunk up the whole state of Illinois with the Fighting Illini. So he goes there. I had to look this stuff up a little bit. He only had, out of those 7 years, he only had 2 seasons where he was over 500. One was a 9-4, the other one was 7-6, and the other remaining 5 were 2 and whatever. I don't know what it was, 2 and 11, and just terrible. Just terrible. One year, I think he didn't even think he win a conference game. Joe, what's happening with you, man? What's good, Coach? What's going on, Joe, man? Long time support. I really appreciate you, man. Uh-oh. We got some. Mo Dudley says Spurrier got a statue out of Ben Hill Griffin Stadium for a reason. Can't knock that one. He won him a natty, so he's right. So now let's go on to the real meat of the sandwich, right? We were talking about the bread a little bit. So now after Ron Zook comes who, my man?
Urban Meyer.
Urban Meyer, real quick. V12 without E is like cereal without the milk.
Yeah,
That's pretty.
right.
That's a pretty good one, man.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. Now we're gonna
that.
start off. We had Urban Meyer. Eddie Sidwell says Urban Liar. Seen the writing on the wall. That's
Urban
why he
Liar.
bailed out. Well, guess what?
Urban Liar, that's a good one.
Yeah,
hey,
man. I've heard that quite a time.
That one. I haven't heard that one. That's a good one, bro.
That's a good
Urban
one.
Liar.
So now
or Urban hypochondriac, because you're always sick.
Look at this. Quentin Lee even says Urban Liar.
Let's call him Urban hypochondriac because you're always sick. Always something wrong with him.
But we're gonna get into that. Let's hold on, but let's chronicle this thing. We're gonna get into it because I want to walk because he is the era, right? And I'm gonna call it the present, right? Because
that's fair.
If you want to call Jim McElwain or whatever after that, but he was the present in the sense of
the
really put Florida in the runnings of the
back in the running. So
put him back in and significant. All right, so here we go.
So he's the present, and the presence, right? So the 2 P's, right?
Correct.
So right. So because his presence basically put Florida back nationally on the map. Correct. So we have to give him the due. And he's and even though we're kind of ribbing him a little bit, he is actually a hell of a coach. I would love to have had him at University of Miami at any time over the past 20 years.
I can agree with that.
Out there.
Right. I can agree with that. But here's what we're gonna say. Let me just start it off with kind of his thing, how he got to where he is, and all of that. So Urban comes in, he leaves Utah, right?
And Utah was the beast.
But he created Utah to be a beast. Nobody really heard about Utah football.
No, I didn't even know Utah. Utah was. I didn't know Utah what Utah was.
Yeah. So he got them on the map, got them going. Like I say, made them. I think they win some major bowl deals, and then he gets the job. The AD there, Jeremy Foley, hires him, brings him on to take over. He turns that thing around immediately. All right, but here's the trick: he already had one in the chamber, right? Who was that? Who was that guy that was one in the chamber already?
Tim Tebow?
No, before that, Chris Leak.
Chris Leak. Oh yeah, Chris Leak. Yeah, of course. Yes.
So Leak was there. Yeah, you got to remember. So Leak was
there.
No,
Leak was there. Yeah, he's on that team. Yeah, absolutely.
That's right. So Leak was there. So he already had one in the chamber. So he already had some things he could mold and fix and put together. It wasn't just a pure overhaul, And I think that's what Urban Meyer does a great job of, is taking what he has at the very beginning, right, and making sure that works, right? It may not be a well-oiled machine so far as, it's not a Ferrari engine right now, but he can go in the junkyard, he get a piece from this, a piece from that, put it together, and he can run it out the yard until he can start getting the proper pieces through recruiting. And I think that's something he does extremely well because it takes him no time to build programs and to put programs together immediately, And so I'm saying all that to say, saying all that to say, when he comes in, then they win the Natty, right? So they come in, they win the national championship. What was that, 2006?
Yes.
So he wins the Natty in 2006, and then he wins another one in 2008. Chris Leak goes on, he wins one, he leaves, and then Tim Tebow comes in. And I really want to talk about that season in the 2008 or 7 season rather. Where they lose that game to Ole Miss, and Tim Tebow's famous speech that is now ingrained in statute outside of Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. The whole speech he said about you'll never see a team work as hard and blah, 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 and this, that, and the other. And he really did it. So go ahead, real quick, V2. Talk about that a little bit, and I'm going to pop in some of these comments.
So Urban Meyer, he comes in, and like you said, he always, just as Steve Spurrier was the author of the Fun and Gun, Urban was doing the spread offense out west in Utah. And I prematurely mentioned Alex Smith to answer your question, but remember that was his quarterback at Utah was Alex Smith, and he's now the quarterback of the Washington football team. Urban Meyer comes in, offensive-minded coach, putting up a lot of points out west, or Pacific West, and comes to Florida, and actually, like you said, inherits a Ron Zook team, which all the players that pretty much Urban Meyer won the national championship with in 2006, 2007 were recruited by Ron Zook. So you mentioned that Chris Leak was there, but also you have Reggie Nelson, who was there, Percy Harvin, who was there, and also Brandon Spikes. So he had a very, very talented team.
Right.
And
he just couldn't put it together.
Correct. And then not to mention, a budding superstar in Tim Tebow. So he goes in and actually, wins it in 2006. And then subsequently in 2007, 2008, he wins another one. So Tim Tebow, they lose that game. And, he's a Florida kid. We knew about Tim Tebow a long time ago. I remember when he played in the Orange Bowl for one of his high school football games. We knew what type of player he was. Until this day, a man of integrity, a hard worker. So he goes on and they lose that game. He goes in and probably gives one of the most all-time great speeches. That's up there, locker room speeches. That's up there with the Allen Iverson playoffs. It's up there with the Herm Addison. Herm Addison. We play to win the game, and it's up there with Denny Green. They are who we thought they were. Right. So he gives the all-time locker room speech that goes with the great. So, I mean, you can't knock Tim Tebow, and they put up numbers. And they won a national championship, and that Tim Tebow team was phenomenal. They had Percy Harvin on that team, went on to the NFL, many years in the NFL. Louis Murphy, Riley Cooper, Joe Hayden. They also had Aaron Hernandez, and I'm gonna give you what I'm gonna ask you this, Coach. And on that 2008 team, this is another fun fact. Who else was on that 2008 team that you probably don't know about, or you may not remember?
I'm gonna tell you who else was on that team too, if I'm not mistaken. Was it the Channing Crowder? Was he out there? You had.
I wasn't going there, but I'm gonna blow your mind with this one because
I think Major Wright was on that team, the safety.
Major Wright, I think so.
Major Wright, he played at St. Thomas Aquinas.
Right.
Because I remember your boy was on that team too. Because I remember going to the state championship watching St. Thomas Aquinas play Lakeland, and that was the Pouncey twins. Okay. You had the Pouncey twins was on that team. You had Chris Rainey was the running back.
Rainey, yeah, exactly. No, the team was loaded.
It was loaded. But I mean, you had some top talent on that team.
When I tell you this, you're gonna laugh. Fun fact: on the 2008 championship team for the Gators, there was a guy on the team by the name of Cameron Newton.
It sure was. Cam Newton
was on that Florida team. Come on now. Listen. I'm in a research team. Pat you on the back. Come on, I stumped Coach, and that's hard to do. That's hard to do. Stump Coach. Ain't no laptop. Hey, my hand's right here.
No. I'm talking about
like Houdini.
Hold on, but that's what I'm talking about. The laptop king, Cam Newton, got in trouble for taking a laptop.
There you go.
Also, right here, Graylin, man, appreciate your comment. Carlos Dunlap was on that team.
No, the team was loaded. I just missed a couple.
No, you're right.
My point was to say Cam Newton was on that team, and subsequently got in trouble and had to leave. Right.
Quinn had to correct me, man. Channing Crowder was on the 2005 team.
Okay.
All right. Let me see here. Man, these things rolling in. I appreciate you guys' comments, man. You're doing a great job with it. But anyway, like I said, but I do want to say this part when it comes.
And Tebow and Tebow wins the Heisman Trophy in 2007 as well. You can't forget that. Right.
Can't forget that.
Right.
We got another one. Quentin Lee, Janoris Jenkins was on the team.
Oh, fire team! It's a team.
I mean, listen, the team was basically an all-star team.
Oh yeah, all-star team.
And again, they did a great job recruiting. But here's what I'm gonna say. Let's just talk about maybe some of the dirty little secrets around there that people don't talk about. And I'm gonna just tell you something I used to hear. I guess I'm not here to expose it because articles have been written about this and everything else. And, you know, in the comments, I'm seeing the guys, they roasting Urban Meyer a little bit. It was one of those things where, and what I used to hear, and just from talking was, you know, coach used to turn a blind eye when the ball players did things, right? And I understand it's a business, right? It is what it is. I also used to hear that there was a very bad drug problem, which it probably is on most campuses, right? But it was no repercussions to your actions, no consequences to your actions. And it was two sets of guys there, right? There was, like, you had the Tim Tebow, who was the upstanding guy. He did everything right. But I also heard something that I thought was completely awesome. Because of the kind of guy he was, this is what I used to hear, the other teammates used to kind of surround him and protect him because there was so many people wanted to see him fail, quote unquote, the haters. You understand that? They wanted to see him fail, that the other teammates would kind of blanket him and protect him. You know, Tim still went out to parties. He said he didn't go to parties. Tim went out to parties, but you would see people trying to feed him drinks, or girls would try to get up on him, and the players be like, nah, you can't do that. You know, so they actually helped him with temptation, and they helped him with those type of things. And that's what I thought was very interesting, that regardless of all the things that went on, because we already know I think it was Janoris Jenkins had the big drug problem. Not Janoris Jenkins, but what's the guy? Speedy Gonzalez, man. What's his name? The fast dude, man, played in Minnesota. Talking about migraines all the time. Percy Harvin, you know, I think he had an issue with marijuana, and there was a lot of things going on, man. So,
right. So,
and I would say that I think that's always been Urban Meyer's Achilles heel when it comes to coaching, because you saw that same type of thing follow him when he went on to Ohio State. You saw the same thing with it was always like a cover-up type deal. It was the unwritten thing or unsaid thing. Because as all that thing went out, that stuff came out, then it came back, oh, that stuff happened at Florida, then it happened at Ohio State, all of that kind of stuff. So that, what I think was the bad part about legacy. Him.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he had the one thing about Urban Meyer, and you hit it right on point, Coach, is that he had, and we know this. We know there's sometimes a separate group of players. We know how it goes. And so what kind of helped him was that he had this upstanding quarterback, this quarterback who is basically, in a sense, perfect. And so a lot of the attention was on that quarterback, which is Tim Tebow, and rightfully so. And Urban kind of got away with a lot until it started to catch up with him. Mm-hmm. And when it did catch up with him, he got kind of exposed. I know you in the coach's ranks, and you probably get some of the inside scoops that we're not aware of. But again, from the outside looking in, you hear little things about Florida, but at the same time, it would also be shifted to Tim Tebow's Christianity, the lefty doing this, the dual threat quarterback, the jump pass and stuff like that. So he Urban Meyer kind of got a pass at Florida. And again, I can understand the concern that he always seemed like he was doing something, not really taking responsibility for things that's going on the other side, on the flip side of it.
Yeah, and what happened is, because they were winning masked all problem. I tell people, I used to tell my players all the time, winning will cure cancer for a night. You know what I mean? Like, when you win, it's just such a great feeling, and it feels so good that whatever your worries are, you'll forget it for that night, And I'm not saying that, cancer is a serious thing, but I was just saying that winning will mask all of that stuff.
Right.
And for a moment. And right here, Quentin Lee says, that's true, and Janoris Jenkins beat up his girlfriend. Yeah? Let me see. When you have God on your side like Tebow, you cannot fail. And that's true. I do want to talk about that piece here for a second. Urban Meyer, Eddie also says, Urban Meyer does not have control of his team or coaching staff. And I appreciate you, man. Graylin Pearson, Coach Hayes, I just want to say I love your commentary and promoting these young kids. Keep that positive vibe. # free Timmy. Well, Timmy might be free faster than you guys think, man. So y'all just stay tuned to that. Like I said, we're going to always grow, always evolve, especially at Coach Hayes football. That's what it's all about. But so anyway, back to Tim Tebow. you know, and I'm gonna say this: never was a Florida fan. You know, I'm talking about this because it's just part of the show, and I really enjoy football. But I did love Tim Tebow because I've always said this: there are different types of people in this world, right? And I'm gonna make a quick comparison. There, and I always used to give this to my players. There's four types of people in this world. There are one what we call, and if any of my players listen, they definitely gonna know this. There are what we call survivors. And survivor is a person that do whatever they got to do, just fly under the radar. They're not going to cause any problems. They're just going to do whatever. You have competitors that will step up if they challenged. All right. So if they step up, if you challenge them, hey, V12, I bet I can beat you running, man. I bet you can't. Boom. But you're not going to come first and gasses all the time. But if I challenge you, you'll put your best foot forward. Then you have winners. Winners going to do everything right. They're going to give they all in, but it's about them. And then you have leaders. And leader does everything a winner does, but he also makes everybody around him better. And that is what the difference between Tim Tebow and other guys who necessarily won. They may have been better athletically. They may have been had better talent, but he made people around him better, and it lifted the team up. Imagine if he was out there just a knucklehead doing what he had to do, blah, 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 blah. That team, regardless of how much talent you had, it wouldn't have gone as far because something would have failed at some point. You understand what I mean? There would have been a malfunction at some point in the game. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely. You can't underestimate the power and like the gentleman said of God. And I think that's what propelled Tim Tebow was his confidence in God and in himself. Because the man's story is his parents are missionaries, and I think he grew up maybe outside the country for a little while, and
Philippines.
Philippines, and we heard about him coming up in Florida. I mean, he was a beast. I mean, he was a lefty. He could run. He can throw, and although his skill set didn't really translate that well as much to the NFL, just like Steve Spurrier, he was an awesome football player. And his faith and the way how he commandeered and he commanded, he's a leader in that locker room. I mean, like I said, I'm not a Gators fan per se, but you have to tip your hat to Tim Tebow because, even now, he was always doubted. And, the man, he playing baseball now. And people will say, well, he can't do it. So he has a really he's really embedded in his faith. And that can't be shaken from his standpoint. Some people will argue that probably hurt him in some aspects, but again, that's his faith, and he leans on God, and you can't blame the brother. I mean,
not at all.
I'm a big Tebow fan, right? So
I'm a huge Tebow fan, and here's the deal, though, V12. I do believe that his faith hurt him because people considered it a distraction. Now, I don't say how the people consider it a distraction. But there are people out there that consider that kind of stuff a distraction. And I would never forget this. And I would never forget this. There was, I think it was an article. It may have been an article. I read this in an article, but I don't know if it actually happened live. But in this article I read, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, and then we're going to push on and keep going down this Florida train. One of these reporters said to him, do you feel that it's necessary for you to kneel and pray after every touchdown and praise God or say thank you, God, before this? And he said, when you married your wife, is that the only time you ever told her that you loved her? Man, look here. I got chill bones right now. Bruh, think about it, man. Like, that's deep right there.
It's deep, bro.
And that's an off-the-cuff response, man. And that goes to show you that and guess what? It's nothing but positivity. He never tried to push it on anybody else. Right? He never tried to push it onto anybody. He did his thing. He did his thing quietly within his thing, and that was it. All right. And let me see. Quentin says it damn sure did. The NFL blackballed them, and I agree with that because we have a way to push people, and they have a way to promote people for the guy they want to promote. Right? And let's just make a comparison with the Johnny Manziel and the money sign right? Or the Baker Mayfield, he had the beer. They showing this 100 times a day. He popping beer. Nothing wrong with drinking a beer. You know what I mean? But they promote what they choose to promote. You understand that? So that's Tebow, man, in a nutshell. I'm happy. I was happy to watch him play. and I was really a fan of his. So now let's finish out Urban Meyer's era. So Urban gets down to the end. All right, and this is where I'm gonna make this thing. Urban gets to the end. Tebow's about to graduate or about to finish playing for the Gators, and he knows it's a wrap. Urban knows that, okay, we've run our course here. It's time for me to bow out. Now, this is how he chooses to do it. Again, I'm not a medical doctor. I can't say. I've never seen this man medical records. But he started laying the foundation about, sickness and GERD and all that stuff. He got acid reflux disease. Stop eating them hot chicken wings, bro. But anyway, those type of things he started laying the foundation because I feel, it's strictly my opinion now, it's not a fact, that he knew that, one, my team is out of control. The glue that kept this team together is about to walk out the door. And I'm about to ruin my doggone legacy if I stay any longer. That's how I feel. You understand? And so how do I get out of here without looking like a quitter? I bring up medical issues and health. And so he started talking about, I want to say maybe it was headaches, like I said, the GERD or whatever he got going on. And so I think he took a leave of absence for a little bit. Then he came back. He coached that year, didn't go like he wanted to. And then I think that was the one where he said his daughter came to him was, Daddy, if you don't if you don't want to coach, yeah.
Right. Yeah. You're gonna, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't stop coaching, but he sure found a job at ESPN, right? And a year later, he the head coach at Ohio State. Knowing he's from Ohio, that was always a dream job, right? And everybody knew that my man was on the chopping block at Ohio, and he was about to get the axe. So instead of him looking like, hey man, I'm just gonna quit Florida and go up to Ohio State. This is my opinion again. I'm gonna bow out. I'm gonna talk about football for a year, and then I'm gonna go back going up to Ohio State. V12, what you got to say? Am I on? Am I off? You got anything to add to it? Take away from it?
I think you're right on point. That's when, from a fan's perspective and just a layman's perspective, people started to kind of question Urban Meyer, his integrity, his leadership from a collegiate standpoint, not as coaching ability, but when he started to lay the foundation, knowing that these rumors are out there, we know he's from Ohio, it's swirling that I think it was Tressel was on the chopping block, and it was just only a matter of time before he got fired. For him to lay that foundation and move on, that was very hurtful to a lot of Florida players. And then to pour salt in the wound, like you explained, he waits a year, goes to ESPN, does this thing with that smirk on his face, and then goes to Ohio State, leaving Jeremy Foley and all Gator Nation stunned. What more can you say?
I agree. And I'm going to just say this part. I know we are talking about, we are talking about Florida, but I'm going to say this. I remember when he was at Ohio, and you remember they almost lost to Maryland. They almost lost the game to Maryland. Maryland was pounding Ohio State. And they kept showing pictures of him on the sideline. This is like the beginning of the third quarter.
With his hand on his head?
Man, exactly. He bent over.
With his hand on his head.
He got a hand on his head. He like this. He was setting the stage to say that he was going to fall out because he was going to mess up his legacy, right? Then guess what? Right? He got his hand on his head. He's this, that, and the other. He's setting the foundation. And they kept going back to him on the camera. Something's not right with Urban. He doesn't Man, they won that game. You ain't see Urban Meyer bend over, take a Tylenol, drink Gatorade, nothing. Man, they ended up winning that game, and he was all on it. He was all over it. But that's just my take on Urban Meyer. That's a whole nother issue. And so, with all that being said, let's go on in now. So now, after we go to Urban Meyer, who's next up to bat, man? Who does Jeremy Foley hire at this point?
He goes out to Texas and hires Will Muschamp.
So he goes down the Nick Saban coaching tree, and he says, okay, let me go in and get a guy. Nick Saban's a hot guy. Everybody falls out of Nick Saban tree, ends up being a prosperous fruit. So I go get Will Muschamp. But here's the thing again. Will Muschamp is a defensive guy. It's not exciting. It's not sexy, right? So he's a defensive guy. He's a fired up dude. You know, facial expression, they always talk about that. So Will Muschamp comes, and V2, I'll let you talk about it a little bit if you need to.
Right. So Will Muschamp comes in, guess what? He suffered the same fate as when Ron Zook had to come behind Steve Spurrier.
Mm-hmm.
You have Urban Meyer, phenomenal coach, points on the board, 2-time national champion, and you have to step up and continue the continuity that Urban Meyer has set forth before you. You have to try to replace the Tim Tebow. You have to try to replace all those guys you mentioned, the Chris Leak, Percy Harvin, Aaron Hernandez. And to be honest with you, Will Muschamp, they won some games, they lost some games, but again, Ron Zook fate, middle of the road. I get your point. He's a defensive person, but he just didn't have the talent. I believe. I think with Urban Meyer, he saw the writing on the wall, and all those guys were leaving, and the cupboard again was left empty for Will Muschamp. I mean, in his 3 years there, he was there from 2011 to 2014. I mean, he didn't have a bad record. He was over 500. He won 28 games and lost 21 games.
Yeah, but listen, I'm looking here now. In 2012, he was 11-2.
That's what I'm saying. That's my point. But it was not up to, and I can't argue with that. Not up to the standard that the Florida Gators set and have set over the past years.
Right.
Think about. I mean, E's not here, Actorman's not here, but he said it very well. He said that people get spoiled, and we're like that. Even as Canes fans, we always point back to 30 for 30. Always point back to the 90s and early 2000s of what was going on. So we don't kind of give these coaches a chance to develop and put their own legacy down. But again, he wasn't terrible, but it wasn't the winning that Florida Gators were accustomed to over the past previous years with Urban Meyer and Tim Tebow.
And that's what happens though, V12. Like once the bar, especially in football, once the bar goes up, it never comes down. You know what I mean? Once you show that you can be an 11-2 team and they can do it consistently, you win a natty, the fans expect that every year.
But guess what?
LaChandra Lucas, the thing moves. I'm sorry, I wanted to put out a thing. She said, LaChandra Lucas, okay, we got a female in the house.
Here we go.
Didi. And it said that's how he became Urban Liar.
Yeah, right? I'm with you on that.
Real quick, before not to break your point.
No worries.
Urban ain't with the little boo-boo emoji. And then now we on Will Muschamp. Lord have mercy, you tough on him, boy.
And you have to remember the competitiveness of college football. At Florida, Ohio State, Miami, Florida State, Alabama, LSU, we know that you can't lose a game. There was one point in time in college football where if you lost one game, you were out of the national championship talk or rankings. So you go to Florida and you lose 3 games a season, they're like, you're trash. You're garbage. Well, in the larger scheme of things, like you say, McElwain was 11-2. That's a heck of a season. But again, you lost 2 games, bro. And Alabama winning, going undefeated. So it's that's part of the game in NCAA football. We know that you can't really lose too many games, and once you lose maybe 1, maybe 2, most programs that have some kind of history behind it, they consider it unsuccessful, unofficially, even though you're over 500, and that's the fate that Will Muschamp had. I mean, and he got fired because he wasn't able to get over that hump. And I mean, he was more than 500, but he wasn't a classic Gator coach who could produce the wins that they needed.
And as I'm looking here, I mean, I'm nowhere near a football encyclopedia, so I do look up things. I mean, he went from an 11-2 record, then the following year he comes back 4-8. I mean, you know what I mean? So you go from 11-2, fan expectations through the roof, administration expectations through the roof, and you come back and drop literally a deuce. You go, you know what I'm saying? A 4-8 record, man. And then
Quentin gave it to you. He gave you the deuce right there. Gave you the emoji.
Yeah. So, and that's exactly what he did, man. We got some interesting comments, man. Let me see here. Eddie, we're still talking about Urban Meyer. Jeremy Foley was a problem with developing and making Florida great too. Now, I've always heard that about Jeremy Foley, and I'm going to go back a little bit. I'm going to tell you something I heard. It's a funny story. Like I said, you in the coaching ranks. I don't know if it's true or not. I'm just passing on folklore. You can call it a gossip. As the ladies say, I'm about to pass on the tea or whatever it is. But here it is. So, So Steve Spurrier. Steve Spurrier, he resigns. He goes to the NFL, right? It doesn't work out for him. At the time they got ready to fire Ron Zook, Steve Spurrier wanted to come back, right? So he wants to come back to Florida. Why not? That would be a great fit. When everybody think, okay, the timing is right. The same time they fire Ron Zook, your boy Steve Spurrier is out the door at the Washington football team, right? You know what they say Jeremy Foley told Steve Spurrier? Submit your resume, man.
Wow. Disrespectful.
Hey, he told Steve Spurrier. He told Steve Spurrier, hey, man, you can apply for the job. Go ahead and submit your resume, and we'll get back to you. That's terrible, dog. That's terrible. But anyway, I had to get that out. I wanted to talk about it earlier. I kind of forgot about it. But then we got back to that. So that's some straight disrespect, man, if you see any. But go ahead, Vito. I know you were making a point that we're going to push on.
No, you're okay. No, we can move. We're not saying that's disrespectful.
That's beyond disrespectful, dog. You tell Steve Spurrier, hey, submit your resume. Wow. Hey, I think he even said, hey, I need some references too, my man. That's terrible. All right, so here we go. So now that we're done with Will Muschamp, he gets there, he doesn't do extremely well. He moved on to South Carolina and has been there for quite some time. Then the next person up the bat is who? Jeremy Foley picks?
Jim McElwain.
Jim McElwain from Colorado State. Okay. Now, Jim McElwain had been around for a while. See, a lot of times guys get caught up because they look at the coach's last stop and they're like, Colorado State to Florida. People are like, why hire him? But people don't realize Jim McElwain had been the offensive coordinator at Alabama, right? He coached in the league as well. He did a little bit in the league. He had done a lot of different things. Now, I have to say this, and I think we've said this on previous shows. Just because you're a great coordinator doesn't make you a great head coach. But you don't know until you know. And somebody has to take that chance on you. And to Jim McElwain's defense, everywhere he went to be a head coach, he was successful. Everywhere he went, he had successful records. And it's even showing now when he's up there at Central Michigan, he turned that around. I believe they won a division in that 1 year he was there. So why he didn't succeed at Florida, I would definitely want to know in the comment section. But V12, talk to us.
Well, there was a point in time, and we can see it now from maybe 2000 and after Urban Meyer, Will Muschamp, that I think the recruiting wasn't a Florida recruiting. They weren't even in the top 10 and top 15 in recruiting class, and so that hurt the Florida Gators as a football team. So Jim McElwain comes, and again, he doesn't have the top tier players that Steve Spurrier had or that Urban Meyer had, and he's just trying to, I believe, do the best that he can and manage a Florida Gators team that's really not talented, as talented as previous Florida Gator teams. So Jim McElwain, as you explained, he was actually a winning coach at Florida as well. He just wasn't winning like he was at the other schools. Jim McElwain, in the 2 years he had a 22-12 record, so he had a pretty good record, over 500. But again, the Florida fans and administration and student body, they're very, very hard on coaches. And if you're not winning, if you're going 7-4 and have these losses on your record, they're not going to appreciate that.
Right. Real quick, Tim Burrell says Mac's offense, he's talking about Jim McElwain's offense was in the hundreds every year. That's why he got canned. Also, CJ Dorsey says SEC coach, a whole nother ball game. And guess what, CJ, I do agree with that. But again, you don't know until you know, right? Look at Urban Meyer. He goes to the SEC ball. I mean, he does a great job. You look at a lot of coaches, when you're hiring these head coaches, the ones that you're not recycling, but you're giving a young guy a chance, or you're giving another guy an opportunity, it's a crapshoot sometimes. You don't know what you don't know what you don't know, and you're trying to go based off of the history of what they've done at previous schools. Yes, I do know SEC was a different ball game, different talent. I totally understand. But his track record said he was a winner. Everything about it says he can do it, you know. And then again, you got some coaches. I mean, hey, let's look at Cliff Kingsbury. This dude at Texas Tech, 6-7 and 5-8. And now he the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals.
He won't be around long.
But I'm just saying, you never know what you know, man. All right. But anyway, and I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, McElwain got the kid out of Harris, out of Trayon Harris from Booker T, got him up there, and he ended up leaving. That didn't work out well. And like they said, there was a lot of quarterback issues. Eddie says McElwain did get a quarterback, he just can't keep at Florida. All right. Let me see. Okay. Tim Burrell. Urban was a different coach because of the staff he brought with him to Florida, like Dan Mullen. Again, I agree with that. I agree with you 100%, Tim. But they're still ahead of the ship, right? And so, yeah, you still don't know about those coaches. What do they do? I mean, that's one thing I love about this game, right? There's so many variables. There's no formula that works in every situation, right? You can't plug this into that and say it's going to work perfectly. So, yes, you're correct, but you got to kind of base it off some history and see what works. You know, does the administration mash with the guy? You know, does this work? Does this, you know, all these different type of things. And that's why I love football, because there's so many moving parts. You know, when one thing breaks, 100 other things are broken as well. You just can't fix that one thing. All right. Quentin Lee says, I know it all about my Gators. All right, Quentin, I'm still waiting on you to call in, man. You the reason I got this phone number up here scrolling across the bottom of the screen, and you still ain't jumped on the scene. Quentin Lee.
We're gonna start calling him Quentin Liar. Like
Quentin Liar.
Urban Liar. Quentin
Liar.
Liar.
Not Urban Liar. Quentin Liar.
Quentin Liar. Hey, a couple weeks ago, you were all on coach.
Last week,
bro. Where you at? Last week? Where you at, bro? Call in, Quentin. We see you. We hear you.
Major Say says, I feel the same. It's the assistant coach that can also make or break a head coach, from recruiting, strength and condition, et cetera, et cetera. I agree with that, man. The supporting staff can make or break a coach, and that's usually what happens. All right? That's usually what happens. So now let's push on, man. We get on to Jim McElwain. He's out the door. And now we want to talk a little bit about I want to talk about the guy that's up to bat right now, which is Mr. Dan Mullen. All right? And so Dan Mullen is on his second stint, different role, but second stint at Florida. Right? Uh-oh, I think we got him. V12. Hello? Thank you for calling Coach Hey Football. This better be Quentin.
You damn right. I mean, you damn
That's
right.
what I'm talking about. Talk to me, Quentin. What's up? You tell me. You was talking all that stuff last week. Coach Hayes stepped up to the challenge. Hold on. Coach Hayes stepped up to the challenge. 7 days later, I figured it out. We on here now. Talk to us, man.
Yeah, not much. I just want to give a little background for like with me, you know, or whatever. But on the 2006 Florida Gator team, the dude that hit Troy Smith in the helmet, like his helmet came off. I played against him in high school. That was Earl Everett. He was a quarterback at high school at Southampton. At Southampton High School. If you know where Southampton.
Yeah, definitely. So you here in Florida then? You in Florida? Okay.
Yeah, I'm here in Florida. Yeah. I played in high school, played a little bit at Bethune-Cookman or whatever, and I had two cousins that went to Florida. You know what I'm saying? One didn't play sports, but the other one did. The other one, he was on the basketball. He was the starting point guard, Casey Hill. He was Billy Donovan's last recruit before Billy Donovan went to the OKC, to the NBA. You know what I'm saying? He was the number one point guard in the state of Florida and top, like, 3 point guard in the whole country. But but yeah, though, but that's enough about my little history a little bit. But yeah, man, y'all forgot about Charlie Pell before Steve Spurrier.
Which one?
Y'all don't even talk about him. Charlie Pell, the head coach. He was the coach that got it rolling.
Hey, Quentin, I know Quentin. You don't sound like you too old now. Hey, Buddy probably was there like in 1980. Yeah, so we try to start.
But yeah, you pretty much hit everything on the head as far as what Urban Meyer though. But you know what I'm saying? You pretty much hit it on the head. Like for real. There's so much crap.
Unmute, coach. Coach, you gotta unmute yourself. There you go, coach.
Yeah, they say you're getting a lot of feedback. I don't know if it's turned up or whatever, man. But Quinn, I'm gonna say this, man. I appreciate you calling in. I do appreciate you watching us, man. It's been, I mean, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. It's been fun. I hope you stay tuned to it, man, and watch us all the time. I got this number because of you.
Absolutely.
And I need my 100. Hey, and I need my 100,000. You thought I forgot about that, man?
I feel you. But yeah, though, as far as Will Muschamp, no, as far as Jim McElwain, I feel like because I feel like he would still been there if he would have never told Will Griff that his son ain't gonna get a starting job because he recruited Felipe Franks. That's why he told him he ain't gonna get his starting job back. Cause he told him that straight up, and then that's why Will Grill left and went to
West Virginia.
West Virginia, and showed out there.
Yes, you're right.
Florida, man, they was undefeated before Will Grill before that controversy came out. They was undefeated. They was 6-0.
That's true.
Yeah, man. Well, like I said, man, I do appreciate it, man. I mean, like I said, I love the fact you got the knowledge, and I'm gonna get you on this show one day. You ain't got to talk through this radio. We're gonna get you on here, especially when we're gonna get it going, man. I love to have guys come on and have fun with it, man. Like I said, you lay back, we have a good time and just enjoy it. But again, Quinn, I do appreciate it. You coming on here, man. This is the for tonight's show. This is the Quentin Lee hotline.
Hey, Quentin,
he motivate this.
Yeah, hey, Quentin, I appreciate
no
it.
problem. I'm gonna like it is. Well, I'm gonna tell
Quentin,
like
check
it
this
is.
out.
You know what I mean?
Quentin, hey, listen. One thing I
will
would
give you my opinion. I'm gonna tell it like it is. Cause I'm a Gator. I'm a Gator till I die.
Yeah. So listen, I appreciate. I know.
Yeah, all right, though, man. No problem, man. I'm gonna keep calling.
Okay.
I'm loving it, man. I appreciate you, man. Thanks a lot, Quentin, for calling, man. And we're gonna push this thing forward.
All right.
Bet. Yeah. All right, talk to us, V12.
Right, so we move on. McElwain, his last season, he go 4-7. They gave him the can. He's out of there. Then brings in Dan Mullen, like you stated earlier, who was at Florida with Urban Meyer. He was actually, I think, the offensive coordinator at the time with Urban Meyer. I mean, a heck of a coach. I always liked Dan Mullen. I thought there was a time before Dan Mullen went to the school that I forgot what school he went to. That I thought Florida would hire him, and they totally went with someone else. And I think Dan Mullen was really, really hurt about that. But eventually, over the years, I think time he was all wounds, and he decided to come back home. So Dan Mullen comes in, and he's actually doing pretty well. I know you're going to touch on the coaching, on the recruiting side of Dan Mullen, but he's been there. His first year, they go 10-3, ranked nationally number 10. Last year, he goes 11-2. And I mean, I think the sky's the limit for the Florida Gators now. I mean, they look pretty good. I think he doesn't necessarily have the name recognition as a Urban Meyer or Steve Spurrier, but he's in the family. He's a Florida Gator, true and true. And I believe, Florida Gators, you guys have a brilliant outlook moving forward. I mean, I think you guys are going to really, really do well. And now I'm not sure what's going to happen this year, depending on what's going on and how that's going to really work out with all this COVID, and will it be legit? Right. But I think that you do have a stable coach, and he definitely can put numbers up. He definitely knows how to run his offense and coach the game.
Right. So here's the thing too about Dan Mullen. Like I said, I think I just saw this recently. They had the first top 10 recruiting class since like 2000. 6 or something like that. It's been a while. And so, and I have to say this, guys, and for those that don't know, here's my shameless plug on myself on my show. I do recruiting videos every day of the top players across the nation. And in those videos, I've had a chance to do quite a few Gator commits, you know, and I got to say, they getting some top dudes. They may not all be these quote unquote 5 stars. And I'll be the first one to tell you, I don't care about stars. I care about ball players. And they got quite a few, but they got a safety. And if you don't believe me, if you've seen this, put it in the comment section. If you haven't, go to my page and watch it. This safety that they got out of Pennsylvania named Donovan McMillan, my man, let me tell you something. In this class of 2021, that cat can ball, man. That cat can ball. And they got him from right up under the nose of Penn State and out of Big Ten territory. They come all the way south. I don't know if it's a tie in there, a family tie, whatever, but I don't care. If you live in Pennsylvania and you're going to tell me James Franklin ain't in your backyard heavy, come on, man. They doing something big up there in Florida now on the recruiting trail these past 2 years. And I have to say this. I didn't know. Now, I have to give a shout out too. Hold on. My boy, Kewan Ratliff now, who played at Florida, lived here in Orlando. He was part of a Rat Pack 7-on-7 and all of that stuff. He was up there, and I believe, I may be speaking wrong on titles, but I know he has something to do with this, but I believe he's director of recruiting for Florida up there. And Dan Mullen hired him. You know, he's an alumni. He played there. He wore number 1 as a cornerback. So, you know, he was a bad boy. You know what I mean? And he's out of Ohio, actually. And, you know, made his home here in Orlando. And I met him when I moved up here. And let me tell you something, man. That dude there, they've been getting some top prospects, and not just around here locally, but some guys from everywhere, bro. So I must say, yeah, right here. Baby low, Donovan McMillan. I'm telling you, from Pennsylvania. That's the bad boy right there. Y'all go check that video out. It's in it's on my video list. All you gotta do is type in Donovan McMillan Hayes. It should pop first thing pop up. All right. I do want to say this, man. A quick shout out before we keep going. Right here. It's kind of long. You cover our face. Coach Jimmy Sheridan, man, he coached with me. Says Coach Hayes wanted to donate to the cause $100. That's what I'm talking about, baby. I love what you're doing. But mostly I appreciate the fact that every time I call you for advice, you're there to listen and give feedback. I truly believe you are headed somewhere with your football knowledge, and you could become a sensation in the media world. I love you like a brother. Now let's do some Michigan talk. I would love to be a guest. Well, guess what, man? Jimmy, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. I love you too like a brother, man. He actually was on my staff too when I was down here coaching, man, and one of the hardest working guys that I do know when it comes to coaching. And Jimmy, man, I really appreciate you, man. I thank you.
Hey, Jimmy,
I love you, man.
Hey, Jimmy, can you send Coach 95? Can I get 5 at least? Jimmy, can you send Coach 95? Can V12 get at least 5? Hold on, Jimmy. Now I answered your question too last week. Can I get 5 on it?
No, I got 5 on it.
Hey, no sticky. I just need 5, Jimmy. All right. No, hey, that's good stuff though, Jimmy, man. We appreciate you, man.
Yes,
good
sir.
Stuff, bro, for sure.
I appreciate you, man. Hey, Bruce Blanton says this safety hits like a linebacker. If you're watching that Donovan McMillan tape and that's what you're talking about, yes, sir. He is a ball player. All right. Look at that. They done went everywhere. Also, yes, I did a video on those two. I actually did a live, my WRE live I did with Corey Collier, as well as I broke down both of those guys' tape. Go check them out. You guys got 2 of the Palmetto 5. So these Florida Gators, man, Dan Mullen is doing some big stuff when it comes to the recruiting. You understand? He showed he can win in short time. And now that he's starting to get these recruits in, I mean, some top guys, you know, and all of these guys are not 5-star. I keep going back to this. Nobody cares about these 5 stars. When I say that, meaning I want to see, can you ball? Can you play? He got 5-star. Yeah, you got a 5. I know a 5-star right now because he a big dude. He's got all the measurables and everything. He ain't making no plays. All right. So with all that being said, we talking about Mullen. And V12. Coach Hayes got kids to take care of. He needs more money. Hey, you can't be digging him a pocket, V12. They coming after you.
Miss Lucas, I like to.
You got some great stuff. Go ahead, yeah. You leave that alone, man. You about to get your boy scarred, man. God, oh, hey, this
Miss Lucas, I'm gonna leave that alone, Miss Lucas. That's my home.
We'll go ahead and mute him out right quick. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and cut that thing off. Come a dog sometime. He get loose lips. You know what I'm saying? Loose lips sink ships around here. It is what it is. All right, so he back, man.
I'm good. I'm
just teasing, man. That's my dog. Listen. So with all that being said, man, we got there. So I think personally, back to Dan Mullen, I do think personally Dan Mullen is going to be successful. One thing that does have to happen, and I don't know this for sure. I have been on Florida's campus, but they must continue with the times. I know that Jeremy Foley is no longer the AD there. I think I looked it up. He's the AD emeritus, but they'd have somebody else in place. And when I say move with the times, you're going to have to move with the whole, I still don't understand why building helps you win games, why brick and mortar helps you win a game, but maybe because I'm a little old school. But because they build a new library on campus, you can get a recruit. I get it. You know what I mean? But most of these big programs, they already have a lot of these facilities. They already have a dome. They already have an indoor facility. They already have state-of-the-art locker rooms. I mean, they have everything that they need, but they're going to have to continue to keep pushing the envelope in order to keep these recruits coming. Let me see here. There's a push right here. Quinn Lee say Mullen got to beat Kirby this year. That is true. And Mr. Sewell says, Mr. Lee, we are prepared and ready to stomp them Bulldogs. We're going to find out, man. We're going to find out real heavy. You know what I'm saying? We're going to find out real heavy, man. It's going to be happening soon. But V12, man, like I said, I think we talked about it. We think we did talk about the past. We didn't go far back as Quentin did with the super past. He went way back, but that's what? That shows the heart of a true fan.
Correct. He probably wasn't even born back then, but he tried to go ahead and try to stump us. But Quentin, we own you, Quentin.
Yeah. Listen, man, I can't wait. I want to definitely get him on the show. We talked about the past. We talked about the present with the Urban Meyer and that whole situation and how that came about. And in the future, in between that was the Jim McElwain, the Will Muschamp eras. And then now we're on to the Dan Mullen, and Dan Mullen did a great job at Mississippi State. I actually had a player that played for him in Mississippi State, and then he came over here to Florida. And I think he's going to do well. Now, they say he's a no-nonsense guy. I can tell that. They also, one thing I have seen recently about Florida, and I definitely want somebody to talk about this, is I noticed that, and I may be wrong, but I think it's the top 3 receivers opted out the first day of practice. Now, I don't know if they went back or whatever the second day, but I know those guys opted out the first day of practice. And that's kind of jacked up, man. If you're going to wait out, what you holding out for? Extra rib sandwich? What are we doing? If you were going to play or not. I don't think it had to do with safety. I don't know what it is. It has to do with the unions. And we definitely going to do a show talking about, these players that want to get unions and form unions or whatever the case may be. And he's always stood up for his players. As I've been looking and doing research and reading, Dan Mullen has always stood up for his players and let them know, look, if you want to opt out, you're more than welcome, whatever. Let's talk about it, this, that, and the other. So here we go. We're talking about here we go. I just saw this thing. Hold on. Here we go. Tim Burrell says new facilities coming soon to the Gators. All right. Baseball facility is done already. See, this is why I tell you these colleges ain't hurting for money. Talking about paying these players. These colleges ain't hurting for money. How many times you gonna dig up the grass? That's like when you look on the highway. Oh, y'all was just working on that thing 2 weeks ago. Y'all done dug it back up to put new asphalt down. You know what I mean? Y'all just burning money because you got to burn it. All right. Let me see here. Eddie says, what's so great about Florida is this. We are the number 10 public college in the nation, and we just don't win just in football. Okay, I like it. K.A., who's the next player you're breaking down, Coach? I'm going to be honest with you. As soon as I finish this, I'm filming it tonight, and I'll let you know exactly who matter of fact, I got his name. Oh, let's check my calendar. Oh! Amon Harvey. I don't know what his tape looks like. I went and check it. We're checking him out tomorrow. I know he's a safety. That's all I know. When I put his tape on, I'm filming tonight. It'll be out tomorrow at 11 o'clock a.m. So that's who I'm doing tomorrow, man. Let me go through a couple of these here. Okay, Dan Mullen. Yes, he did. He had Dak Prescott. That's correct. That is correct. I think general consensus by most of the insiders that they accept Cope and Grimes to play. Okay. Oh, that was fast. Love Amari Harvey. Okay, I'm gonna find out if he a ball player or not. I don't, like I said, I don't watch the films prior to doing them. You know, my research team over there, they find out who I'm supposed to do, and they let me know, coach, do this guy a baller. He hot right now. His Twitter on fire. They talking about him. Let's do him. And I do it. I put him on there. I press play. What you see is my first and honest reaction to it. So, you know, only thing I do when I press play, I record. Only thing I do maybe over is if I jack his name up or something like that. Or I say the wrong school he goes to or something like that. But once I get to that part where I'm looking at his film to the end, it's a one-cut deal, man. All right? They call me One Take Tony. You understand what I'm saying? All right, let me see here. They changed it up, man. Can you do Desmond Watson committed to Florida? I'll definitely do some of these guys. Like I said, I do them as they come through, as the news comes through. That's really how I get it. I don't, you know, I don't pick schools per se or whatever. I just go through what it is, man. V12, you got anything else?
No, I think it was an excellent show, man. Your fan base is phenomenal. Your subscribers. Hey, y'all make sure y'all subscribe to Coach Hayes Football. As you see, hey, the brother is always innovative. He takes your advice. He stepped it up with the call-in number. And hopefully next time we do this, if I'm invited back, because I know how when Coach get big time, you know how 5 heartbeats, a heartbeat get dropped off. You know what I mean? So hopefully I'm invited back. But make sure y'all continue to support the brother. I mean, it's a phenomenal show. We're fans. You know, I'm a football fan. I grew up like that from Miami. That's all I've known for a long time. And to have a close friend of mine to be on the scale and to share this with the world, I think is wonderful. Again, I appreciate it. I think the Florida Gators, you guys, sky is the limit. You know, it's the SEC. So like one of the commenters said, it's a very, very tough division. You got Alabama there.
Alabama.
You still have LSU is still there. Georgia is still there. But again, I believe Dan Mullen, who was already in the SEC, he had the experience, and you guys have a bright future. So again, congratulations to you guys, and I appreciate it, Coach. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. I thank you, man. Like I say, man, we've been around for over 20 years now, man. It's been a while, bro. So with all that 25 years, bro, golly. So, man, I appreciate it, man. Hey, it is what it is. One last thing here we got to say here. I just saw this because somebody just said it. Right here, Bruce says Mullen was offensive coordinator at Florida when they won a championship. That is correct. All right, and I think that's kind of why they brought him back. K.A., I know I saw your comment earlier. Listen, you left me a comment about your son. Hit me up on a DM or something. We can talk about it, man. Definitely, I don't have a problem helping you out with that, man. Definitely. Let me see. And also, I'm going to say this. We started off with 3,800 subscribers at the beginning of this thing. My feelings a little hurt. We had 3,805. I only got 5 subscribers. That means everybody on here have already subscribed. I trust in that because I know y'all subscribed already, so it ain't no pressure. All right, man. So with all that being said, I thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you check out that film tomorrow on Amari Harvey. It's going to be a doozy. I'm filming as soon as I hang up with this. We go wash my face, get a little something to eat, put on the tape, and make it happen. Okay, it comes out 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. Make sure you check it out. Please pass this on to everybody. Like I said, we have fun with this. We also do live videos on Tuesdays as well, what I call WRE Live, where I do a breakdown of kids' film with him live on the tape, and we talk about it just so we can get into the mind of a player. And on Thursdays, we have just random football talks about different things, and that's just what it is. And so we already had the hour and 30-minute mark, and we're about to go in and cut this thing off. So I appreciate everybody who came out, everybody who watched, left comments, people that called in, D-Tiggs that thinks that Spurrier is a bum, to Quentin Lee, that is a true Florida fan, man. So I appreciate you guys, and thank you so much.
And one more thing before I know we get into it. Hey, I would like to say this: everyone, just tell someone about Coach Hayes Football Show. And last but not least, we get into that time of the year. Vote, vote, vote. Make your voices heard. Just like we on here. We have our opinions, and we like to have a good time. Make sure your voice is heard at the polls. Get out and vote. Get out and vote. Holla at me, V12.
All day. Bruce Blayton, appreciate it. I'm subscribing right after this. I watch this stuff, love it, chomp, chomp. Well, guess what? It loves you too, man. And we appreciate you. Thank you guys so much, man. We about to head up out of here. We gonna holler at you.
Nice.